Hello, Cheapario here, and if I were to sum up Double Dragon Gaiden, which is available on consoles right now, if I were to sum it up in one sentence, it's to say this. This is a perfect throwback to all the arcade brawlers back in the late 80s, early 90s. Let me put that picture into context for you. This game is a chef's kiss to the Double Dragon franchise and 80s and 90s arcade nostalgia, mixing in game mechanics of Final Fight and River City Rampage, and even a little bit of Ninja Turtles into the Double Dragon formula. It really brings back all the memories and also evolves them. While this may not be the Double Dragon that we're used to, this is definitely a recipe for great arcade action and made me stop taking notes and really just get into the game, just tasting it and really relishing what this new entry in the series is. And it's a great tasting entry. So for the purposes of this review, I'll be playing this game on the Nintendo Switch. When you purchase Double Dragon Gaiden, the hard copy, it actually comes with a poster and stickers. Who doesn't love stickers? So anyway, once you purchase it on Nintendo Switch, another good way to get that arcade feel is to play it on arcade system. So Arcade 1-Up, of course, these have built-in games and you typically can't play Nintendo Switch games on them. You technically can with some third-party accessories. So this is the Intech Gaming arcade deck that connects to your Nintendo Switch with adapters and can actually just be swapped out with the existing Arcade 1-Up arcade deck to give you that arcade experience. So as of right now, I've got the Nintendo Switch hooked up to my Arcade 1-Up, and I've got this arcade deck that is connected to the Nintendo Switch to give you that arcade experience. So once you fire up the game, you're completely thrown into this nostalgic world, even down to the sprites that are used in the loading screens of the Double Dragon as it was back in the late 80s and early 90s, before it started sucking with Double Dragon 3. So Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of the Dragons, as far as I can see it, is a prequel to the franchise as we know it, where it kind of starts out with the two brothers, the Lee brothers, starting out on their mission to kind of take down different clans and gangs throughout this post-apocalyptic world. Now, in terms of the different modes and options they have, you can play it in a typical arcade mode where you're kind of going through and using these limited continues, or you can go infinite route so that you can continue to play without being limited to the number of lives. Now, the game takes place in the post-apocalyptic world of 1990X. So apparently in the 1990s, something post-apocalyptic happens. I wonder how 2023 would be then. Anywho, of course, all these late 80s games started out with your favorite lady friend in distress. Of course, the brothers have to go into action and take out these rival gangs and gain control of New York or wherever this takes place. It seems as if, in terms of the different layout of the missions, they take place across different widespread regions, and each region and each level has a great variety of different backgrounds, great variety of different characters related to that gang. So there's enough diversity in the game to keep you coming back and choosing those different levels to take out those rival gangs. With this new entry, you're not only limited to 2 characters, but it looks like there's almost 13 characters here, most of which are unlockable through this token system that you collect tokens throughout the game to purchase continues or different power-ups. And of course, now they have female characters available for play. Each of the characters play widely differently. Even the 2 Lee brothers have differences in terms of the strengths between their punches and kicks. And Marion, who's on the left here, has more of long-range shooting. Now, their uncle, who's in the green here, is more of a heavy hitter or brawler character, so he's going to play slower, but his strength is going to be in how strong he is with his different defense features. Now, when you build up SP, that's done through some of the combo moves that you're doing throughout the game, and as you build SP to your SP meter, you can pull off these different devastating specials. As you can see here, you can do different specials that kind of clear out the room, and those different special moves differ between each character. Some of them are a bit slower, some of them are a bit faster, so be selective in how you choose your character, because that will lead to your strategy throughout the level. Now, when you're pulling off these special moves, you can actually do like tag teaming moves between your second player or even switch out between another character on the character select screen at pretty much at tandem. So if you're hitting your different special move, it does a tag team move where you're jumping from, let's say, Marion over to one of the Lee brothers very quickly and instantaneously as a tag team move. So there's different combinations you could do. It's really awesome to play, and it really creates diversity and kind of this unthinkable notion that Double Dragon is not the thing that we once knew, but something completely evolved and unexpected. Even if you were to beat the game, there are different pathways to go in each level, so it does add a level of replay value, even though they kind of all lead to the same place. Some of the negatives I will say is that, as you can see here, it is a bit clunky if you're trying to jump and do some very limited or basic platforming. It just feels very clunky to move around at times as you're kind of going through the map. Another thing I will say is that sometimes with either the hit detection or when you're initiating your special move, it doesn't really connect as you think it would. And I think it's just a matter of timing between the move setting off and the hit detection with the other characters that you think you're going to just devastate the room and it just misses the mark and doesn't make the attack that you're looking for. One player and two player are not limited to playing as different characters. You can play as the same character as shown here. Of course, just like original Double Dragon, you can pick up items and be able to use them as weapons. A lot of the items in the different stages are breakable, and that's where you get different collectibles and gems and money to be able to use in terms of coinage to purchase power-ups, as I said before, and gain those upgrades. There's plenty of sub-bosses and stage bosses that you can use to, once you've used those different coins and the different currency in the game, you can purchase these characters to play and they become available in the character select screen. So this is a really awesome game. I can't say enough good things about it. Very small negatives, as I point out. I will point out something really significant in terms of a negative. The load times suck on this game. And you'll see that load times reach between 15 to 20 seconds when you're doing your character select screen, your mission select, when you've reached separate checkpoints within the levels. I cannot say enough negative about the load times of a very simplistic game, at least on the Switch. Anyway, guys, you've heard my positives and negatives about the game. I've seen a lot of people kind of critique this game about not adding anything new, and that's very true, but sometimes you just want a good brawler that brings that retro nostalgic feel, and this one does it well in spades. And it's not meant to add anything new, it's just meant to kind of pull the pieces together and just give you a good time. So that does it for me, guys. I highly recommend joining up with a friend, first and second player, and knocking out a couple hours, just kind of exploring this game and just really having a good time with Double Dragon, which honestly, I haven't had a good time with Double Dragon since Double Dragon 2. That does it for me, guys. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time at the arcades.